first 5 minutes in to fishing the Biwaa Capsize 7.5 inch ghost carp color. Check that out, guys. That bait is gone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the 10 best commandments. Big Bass Dre. Big Rock Cali product. Can't tell me nothing about this bass fishing. I've been sticking them. I've been fishing these lakes for years. It made me a handle with rules to these fish. I wrote me a manual, step-by-step booklet to get your graph on track. Rick push back, launch in jet black. Rule number uno, never let no one know what lures you hold, what spots you go.
On the Biwaa Capsize.
Hey guys, welcome back to Big Bass Streams. I'm Oliver Nye. I got the Bassmaster Opens angler on our team himself, Mr. Anthony Garcia is in the house. And today we are going to do a full tackle breakdown on the Biwaa Capsize line of swim baits. And we've got options all the way from 6-inch here. That one's rigged weedless. I might show you guys that modification. Here's another 6-inch bait. It's what Anthony has currently got tied on, so we'll make sure we share his insights with you guys after fishing it today. Here's a 7.5 inch in the real perch color that's going to be doing work for us in the Northeast this year in 2025. And then here's the 9-inch HD. We've also got the 9-inch Stinger rig. We'll also show you how to modify that stock 9-inch Stinger rig into a weedless option. And last but not least, we got the big boy, the 12-inch. So we're gonna focus on the 6, 7.5, 9-inch, and 12-inch versions. And as some of you guys might have discovered, we also make the Capsize in a 3, a 4, and a 5-inch in unrigged bodies that are fantastic finesse swim baits and very versatile as well, but we'll save that for a whole nother video. If you guys are new to the channel here, make sure you guys subscribe to Big Bass Streams. I've got a personal channel as well, Oliver Nye. Where can they find you, Mr. Garcia?
G-Team Outdoors, everywhere social media is allowed.
You hear that? G-Team Outdoors. So we'll leave links in the description below for that. So let's start with the 6-inch. This is pretty much our flagship here. This is gonna be a lot of people's first entry into the range of Capsize swim baits. At 6 inches, you've got 1.5 ounces here. Very easy to fish. Anthony's throwing it on a pretty standard rod and reel setup. Great entry point into big bait fishing. But if you're looking for a high utility bait, 6-inch harness boot tail is a great option to target both numbers and quality fish. It's going to be a tournament angler's best friend, as well as a recreational angler looking to have a lot of fun. Lots of engagement from 2 to 4 pound fish, with great appeal to those kicker 5, 6s, 7s, maybe even occasionally bigger. But this is a great starting point here. You can see I've actually got a split ring, and we've been experimenting with different rigging options, different attachment points, just to see how it affects the bait, and whether we fished it on a snap, whether we fished it on a split ring, or have it straight tied like Anthony currently does. We have found a couple things to hold true across the board. It is probably the best performing multi-speed harnessed boot tail that I've ever fished. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I know for sure. You could burn this thing, and you could burn it and slow it down, and that tail will still kick and give off the action and get bites. So that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the range of speed that tail kicks at.
Oh, yeah.
Everything from a slow roll to a literal burn. Whether you're having to adjust to lethargic fish and match their temperament with your slow presentation, or whether you're using this thing with forward-facing sonar and needing some erratic action and bursts of speed to trigger some of those bites, or just flat out fishing shallow, covering a lot of water, looking for reaction bites, you've got a greater range of speed and utility across the board, which has been missing in a bait like this. So it's pretty exciting. And as the name implies, it's called the Capsize because it doesn't have the tendency to do exactly that. It doesn't roll, it doesn't blow out like other harnessed boot tail swim baits. And what's interesting is that I've been modding these baits from these stock harness rigs and rigging them weedless as well. And they still fish really well at multiple speeds and don't blow out and don't capsize. So that was the reason behind the naming of this bait. I will show you guys how to rig all sizes, whether it's the 6, the 7.5, or the 9-inch. And you could probably even rig the 12-inch as a weedless, but man, that's a lot of plastic here to rig on a weedless swim bait hook. But you know, on the 9-inch, it's more than reasonable. That looks fantastic, if you ask me. Like, that's gonna allow us even more versatility. So what we're doing here today is we pretty much have 2 of each size rigged up. Anthony's trying to cover water with the stock HD internal harness treble hook model, pretty much fishing it high in the column or mid column. If we need to like get the bait down and into all the submerged brush that you guys see, or a rock pile or something, we have one also rigged weedless that we can sink down to the bottom, fish through the cover efficiently without fear of snagging, having a multi-pronged 1-2 punch, regardless of whether we're fishing with the 6-inch, the 7.5, or the 9. Here is the 7.5 right above the 6-inch bait, and you can see here it's got quite a substantial difference in size without being overwhelming. You know, there are other 8-inch paddle tail or boot tail style swim baits out there on the market over the years, represented a really big jump from that 6-inch size that so many of us have built a lot of confidence with. So especially for guys like Anthony that are fishing high level tournaments that really need to step up in certain situations and target a true kicker fish from 5 to 8 pounds, that 7.5 inch is going to be really appealing, but also not overwhelming to a 3 or 4 pounder that could still absolutely bump them up the leaderboard. So those of you guys that are just fishing recreationally and really trying to build confidence in this genre of lure are going to appreciate having a 7.5 inch here. All the mechanics are going to hold true pretty much across the board. Now you see the difference between the 6, the 7, and now the full 9-inch size. And once again, it's a beautiful in-between size, the existing 7, 8-inch baits that jump off into the 10 and 11-inch size, and represents a big target without being overwhelming. This 9-inch Capsize HD still weighs in under 5 ounces. This is 4.8 ounces as it stands here. You could fish this on a heavy standard swim bait rod without really stepping into that like 6-ounce and heavier range. We're gonna talk about a different variation of the Capsize here, and this is the Capsize Stinger rig. And you'll notice the difference here is that it no longer has an internal harness but an external harness here, and that allows you to fish this bait high in the column with 2 hooks. And if you are fishing on a body of water where you're really expecting your big fish of your tournament day, or you know, your fun fishing day to be in that 4 to 7 pound range, you know, I like having that extra hook. I like having that extra hook if I'm fishing big smallmouth or spotted bass that tend to attack the baits with their mouth closed or T-bone the baits, and having 3 more points will help you hook more of those awkward bites. I could absolutely see this Stinger model being a player throughout our travels this year as we go from Texas up into the Smoky Mountains and then finally up into the Northeast. It's going to find a lot of usage on the Dream Machine. And what's different about the Stinger rig are a few key features. So in my right hand, I've got the HD model. Once again, an internal lead harness. What's really cool about the HD models in the 7.5 and the 9-inch sizes is that you actually have a swiveling attachment point here, and that allows you to add a quick clip sinker, possibly opens up some rigging options to get that treble hook up a little bit higher to target those headshot fish. This HD model is a very easy bait to fish. You don't need a ton of experience. Tie this thing on, fish it in a lot of the same scenarios and situations you would fish a 3, 4, 5, 6-inch finesse swim bait. But now, just off of sheer size alone, whether it's the 6, 7.5, or the 9-inch HD, you can fish this bait in the same exact locations that you've built confidence and good habits and mechanics with on the small side, and target a whole new range of fish. Here's a couple of stark differences besides that external rig versus the internal rig, is that you'll see that along the back it's got a pre-molded channel. Now, why is that there? Well, it allows you to pop out those wire keepers and actually reverse this hook system, and you can pin that right in the back, pin that treble right in the back, and that slit extends all the way to that adipose fin, and you can bury that pin in the back as well. And now you've got a double hook system that you can actually fish down into the cover without snagging immediately. So that's a pretty unique option. Okay, and then I'm gonna open up the belly here. One of the dope things about the Stinger system is that it comes with 3 of these pre-molded lead weights, and you've got multiple pre-molded cavities in that belly slit to adjust the ROF and the ballast point of this bait by simply embedding it into those pre-existing cavities. That's going to achieve a couple things. That's obviously going to change the rate of sink on your bait, but it is also going to bring the center of gravity of your bait back towards the bottom, because now you've really offset the balance by rigging it with these top hooks like that. So you need enough weight to counter the top roll and the top weight effect of this rigging. It's also a great way to get this bait to fish in multiple depths in the water column. One of the other advantages of having that pre-molded slit is actually allowing it to be easily modded into a weedless presentation. Number one, I just take a knife like this Gear Aid knife that I keep handy, nice sharp blade or razor blade, okay? And I will just barely kind of open up that portion of the bait where I expect that bait to sit in the plastic. And I'm gonna leave about that much plastic in the shoulder of the bait so that that hook has enough plastic to bite, but also clear up enough of that plastic to allow for better hook penetration. And look at the way that I think this is a 16-aught hook, sits flush in that cavity. So I can fire this thing through the gnarliest trees, whether I'm here in California or fishing OHIV or Lake Fork, and know that that bait's gonna come through clean, but also know that when I get a bite, that plastic is gonna move out of the way and I'm gonna be able to get a solid hook set. So one little final hack here on the Stinger system, besides utilizing the stock weights that come with it, I'll also use tungsten bullet weights that fit nicely in those cavities to get some weight into the bait without any weights in the 12-inch. On just a long cast straight retrieve, it kind of naturally swims 2 to 4 feet below the surface, and obviously you can adjust that rate of fall as you deem necessary with either the stock weight system or tungsten weights that are obviously a lot more dense and give you a lot more weight in that small profile. Now, those of you guys that have come to the expos at Chicagoland, New England, and the Columbus show, appreciate you guys coming to the Big Bass Dreams booth and showing us a lot of love. The 6-inch was obviously very popular, as was the 7.5. Surprisingly, the Columbus crowd did some damage on the 9-inch. So we're excited to bring all of these baits, especially the Capsize range, to the last 2 shows of our year. We're gonna have a full range of Capsize, from the 3, 4, and 5-inch unrigged baits to the 6s, 7.5s, 9s, and some 12s at the PCS show March 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in Costa Mesa, California at the Orange County Fairgrounds. And then 2 weeks later, we'll be at the Bassmaster Classic. I want to say it's booth 1140. We'll be right next to our partners at Trailer Valet at both shows, and across from Yeti at the Classic. At the PCS show, I want to say we're booth like 436 or something, right next to the seminar stage in the main hangar building. Make sure you guys come out, say what's up, come check out these baits. We are more than excited to implement them in our fun fishing, in tournaments, and it is going to be a lot of fun watching you guys continue to crack them. Fishing is just starting to get underway across the country. A lot of the country is still snowed and iced in, so I know a bunch of you guys that picked up baits at the expos are chomping at the bit to fish them. But big shout out to our friend Alex May from Tackle Tour. He's already cracked some nice fish fishing the 6-inch Capsize HD.
On the Biwaa Capsize. Just kind of slow rolling it. Hook coming out and keeping her pinned. Nice. Yeah, stay on. There we go. Another trout eater on the Biwaa Capsize. Kind of rolled it around over the top of the weed tops. Free swinging hook, keeping her pinned.
Fred Stepp is already getting the 7.5-inch choked in South Carolina, North Carolina, North Georgia region.
The boat. Right at the boat, man. Get in there, bud. Oh, that's what's up. Got an absolute monster.
Look at that. First 5 minutes in to fishing the Biwaa Capsize 7.5 inch ghost carp color. Check that out, guys. That bait is gone.
Oh, you just had a follower, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, you just had a 3-pounder chase that thing to the boat.
You're lying.
I'm not.
That's why
Fire that Capsize back out
That's why
there.
you need glasses, bro.
Oh man, this is the second time this dude has come on my boat.
No, the last time I had glasses.
Oh, that's right. You just didn't wear them that time.
Yeah. Well, it was like midwinter, bro. We weren't gonna be
Fishing shallow
fishing shallow.
and a fast moving swim bait.
Yeah. I like how you could reel it as fast as you want. There's a lot of baits out there that you will start burning it, and like the bait's name, it'll capsize. And that's not cool. You could be getting a good follower, a key fish in a tournament. You burn it to get that reaction strike, and it rolls on its side, and that's no bueno. That fish will know it's fake, turn, and not bite. I think this bait's gonna get me a lot of key bites this year. Got a couple river fisheries coming up this year, and I think this is gonna be a big player, casting up shallow and burning it back to the bank. Once they get around that hardcore pre-spawn into the spawn, this burning over their staging areas or their beds, I think is gonna get cracked hard.
I mean, I'm watching you fishing this bait, and I think you're partly excited because you just had a nice fish follow it. But like, that's faster than I see anybody ever fishing a harnessed paddle tail,
Yeah, no doubt.
or any paddle tail, really.
Yeah,
I mean, look at that thing cooking.
yeah, that burn and pause. Oh, I mean, I already know. Either they're gonna hit it on the pause, or as soon as after you pause it and then burn it again, they're just gonna jump on it. Just like a jerkbait, just like a floating worm. I mean, I love jerkbaits and floating worms during this time of year, and that's exactly how I'm gonna fish it. I will be able to slow it down. Like, we get a cold front like when we were in Rayburn, and just need that thing to start kicking like that, and I know that's gonna produce bites.
Yeah.
Right now I'm trying to get that reaction strike going, because the water's warming up. I mean, it's basically springtime in Southern California, and I know these fish should be pushing towards the bank any minute now. And we just had like a 3-pounder chase it to the boat, so it's just a matter of time.
Oh look, there's another guy. Yeah, we gotta get you glasses, dog. You're killing me. This has been an incredibly impressive range of speeds and presentations that we've been experimenting with today. And there are definitely scenarios where you can show these fish multiple looks on the same cast, versus in the past we were kind of limited to just one speed, right? There are a lot of baits out there that I've had success with, that I'm sure Anthony has had success with, some of you guys have had success with, where you can find that magic speed for that particular bait, and it swims and it's shimmying and it's doing its thing, and it's great when those fish want to respond to that single speed. But what's really powerful about this Capsize range is, whether it's the 6-inch, the 7.5, even the 9 and the 12 today, is we've been able to go from a slow roll to a burst of speed and to a burn, all without that thing blowing out. Oh, look at this one. Oh, dude, there's a fish right there on top of the tree, just sunk out. See him on the backside?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
See if we can't make magic.
Oh, that's a carp.
Oh, I got that. I thought that was a bass, dude. Oh, he kind of sees
Okay,
it.
all right. Please eat that. So, one other thing that I noticed from fishing this morning, we found some fish over 15 to 30 feet of water, and Anthony was actually fishing that bait, what, 15 to 20 feet down?
Yeah.
But it was actually fishing down in that lower part of that column very efficiently, without him having to like wait an extended period of time for that bait to work down there.
Yep.
So that little bit heavier, 1.5 ounce, big old carp. Now, I've been on this lake where I see a school of carp, and only to realize they're giant largemouth, so we got to stay on our toes here. This is definitely the beginning stages of the pre-spawn period. We're starting to see a few fish shallow. We're definitely seeing more fish deep, and that's how a lot of the guys are catching them right now. So we may adjust our presentation because we were trying to find a shallow bite. And there's a couple fish up here, but I think that first real wave really hasn't flooded the bank. But when they do over the next 6 to 12 weeks here, it's gonna be on and cracking on this shallow bite. But don't be afraid to fire it out, fish it down that 15-20 feet too. Now I'm kind of curious, like as we approach this point here, if you just do exactly that. And then also rigging it weedless allows you to sink that bait out and swim it through all of that deeper cover, because we've seen quite a few fish using the base of the bushes and the trees as they're getting ready to push up on the bank. So the versatility and different applications of the Capsize are definitely some of its strong points. Finding a confidence color for your conditions along the entire range from 3 to 12 inch also exists. Kind of scale up as you're targeting different classes of fish. You know, Riley and I have a tournament this weekend, and I will definitely have some 3, 4, and 5 inch Capsize to target some of those fish that we found staging in those pre-spawn areas. And hopefully by then, those big females will push up exactly where we want to cast that thing in these lanes and these pockets and draw those fish out to come eat it.
It's gonna get bit.
Yeah, this bait's gonna get bit. It opens up the range of utility. It takes a really effective bait category and expands the window of opportunity and the ways that you can present it to get it bit. Look at that thing. Cooking. Yep. Here's a little tip for you guys. In years past, I would store these boot tail swim baits just loose in a tackle box, but I have found that if I actually keep the original clam packaging, that keeps my bait swimming true every time, because I don't give them a chance to warp. So do yourselves a favor, hold on to your packaging, whether it's the 9 inch or the 6 inch. I found the easiest way to store them is just in a big open plano like this. I can hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 9-inch baits in here. And the cool thing is I know none of them are gonna warp. And I'll just rubber band some of these just to make sure that they hold the baits in place. But every time I pull this thing out, tie it on my rod, it's gonna swim true. And there's a lot to be said about that. So I'll leave a link in the description below so you guys know which box this is, but it's just a big open plano here. Holds half a dozen at least 9-inch baits. And then I'll leave a link in the description below for this big flambeau that holds the 6-inch baits pretty well. You should be able to find these baits at your local retailers like Lake Pro Tackle in DFW area, Tackle Shack in the Houston area, Tackle Warehouse of course, and places like Hamilton's in Ohio, and a bunch of other dealers. And if you can't find them in your local shops, you should suggest to them that they bring them in, because this is going to be an incredible fish catching and finding tool for all of us this season. Lots of baits coming. You guys are going to see hopefully a full representation of all the new toys that we're bringing to the States for Biwaa USA here in 2025. If you guys haven't seen our full tackle breakdown on the new Black Spirit Chapter 1 glide bait yet, make sure you guys take a look at that. We'll have a handful of those available at the expo as well. It's been an incredible fish catching glide bait for me for the last couple months, even with my limited fishing. Also be on the lookout for an article from Wired to Fish on fishing pre-spawned largemouth with a big soft bait like a Capsize. So excited to be contributing to that platform with some written content for you guys. If you guys aren't members of the Big Bass Dreams YouTube channel yet, please consider it. The lowest threshold's only 99 cents a month, and with that 99 cents you get a lot of access to content that isn't for public view. All of our previous live streams we've been doing since I think 2017 or 18 are there for your reference. as well as a bunch of private content, some of that tournament footage from Riley and I. And we're going to continue to open the floodgates of information to help inspire and give you guys the tools and the confidence to find some success on the water. So appreciate all you guys that are currently members. And yeah, man, big shout out to you guys. See you guys at the PCS show and the Bassmaster Classic. I'm Oliver Nye.
Team Outdoors, Anthony Garcia.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
LRPs.
Some of the best yet. Some of the best yet. They bite like that, like that, like that. Big bass, double digits.
Kick up the fire right on top.
Low fall, blast off, trying to get some cast off. Doing this here for years, get my pass on. Dream mask on, putting in work. Snap back, got me focused, never settle on the shirt. I missed one and hit one, man, that's getting some. 2, 3, 4, 5 more, come on, that's ripping up. The way the bass miss sticking, the way my feet.